Great. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kristen. We are joining together from Elle Studio Wellness here in Milwaukee, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Today's class is nurturing yoga. So we're going to have a really nice, slow, steady practice. Going to keep us very nice and low to the ground. This is all about rooting. This is all about calming. This is about returning back to the earth and knowing that the earth is our most steady point of stability throughout the day. So you're going to need a blanket or a towel, a designated floor space. If you have any limited flexibility, if you are pre or postnatal, if you have blood pressure concerns, if you're newer to the practice, it's a good idea to grab a chair without armrests. And just know that's an option. I'll be working with that option throughout the class. Okay, so let's get started. You're going to want to take your towel or your blankets, and we're going to fold that up nice and tight. So as you see, I have a larger blanket here, so just adjust accordingly for what you have at home. I'm folding that 3 times so that I have a long and somewhat higher column. Place that towards the top of your mat, whatever you consider the top of your mat to be. And then we are going to lay down on top of this. So you want your whole spine to be supported by the blanket. Lowering your head down. So if you're taller and your head is extending off of the blanket, it's a good idea to maybe grab a second blanket, second towel. You want your head to be in the same line as the rest of your spinal column. The hips are resting down against the ground, and then just let your feet spill off to the side. Taking a very gentle tug of the chin down towards the chest so that you feel the back of your neck elongate. And then float your palms off of the structure of your body up towards the ceiling. You take a deep breath out as you feel the air pass through your teeth, pass over your lips. Feel the exhale completely all the way down to the bottom. And just start to notice your body against the floor, in particular on your exhale. Slower, steadier classes are an excellent opportunity to start activating your sense of observation. So the real practice here when accessing your sense of observation is to learn how to observe without judgment. So this is something that we hear in yoga a lot. So what does that mean? You just keep breathing out. Just listen to the sound of my voice. Keep finding a deep inhale. As you exhale, finding those powers of observation. So again, what does it mean to observe without judgment? For me, observing without judgment means, first off, observing my legs, knowing that my legs are situated differently in my hip socket. My right leg is turned out, so my right foot's a little closer to the ground. My left leg is positioned differently, so my toes are pointing a little bit higher up towards the ceiling. You know, our bodies are not asymmetrical. Now, if I was observing with judgment, I would be trying to equalize the way that my legs are resting or falling against the ground. So to do the opposite of that, to simply observe the asymmetry of my hips, the asymmetry of my legs, the asymmetry of my skeletal structure. Simply acknowledge and observing the different experiences of this pose. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. Each time you breathe out, start to let your mind travel over the different spaces in your body. Imagine that there were large sun-warmed stones, smooth river stones, in the palms of your hands. As you exhale, imagine that you could feel your shoulders curling around this blanket, breathing so deeply through the front of your body, as if you were able to physically create different space that already exists, as if you were able to increase the capacity of your lungs with each breath in. With each breath out, continue to travel through these powers of observation. And if you're new to this, if you're new to looking at your body as a function, as a construct, this could be a really interesting practice for you today. If your mind starts wandering towards value judgments, don't beat yourself up. That's the society we live in. It's what we were taught. It's not your fault. Just let those thoughts cool, and at the best of your ability, do your best to catch those thoughts and release them. Deep breaths in. Deep breaths out. In this moment, as you breathe, as you start to organize your breath, starting to organize your mind, it's taking this moment to dedicate your inner practice. We often spend a lot of time dedicating our outer practice with things like our yoga clothes, like our mat. All of those are tools that are greater in forcing the inner practice. So taking that same care and that same sense of discernment with your inner practice. So this is not the time to think about your credit card bill, or think about what's happening later in the day. Those thoughts will come, they always do. You just catch them, release them. This is your time to be nurtured. Opening yourself to receiving nurture by offering this moment of time, this 45 minutes that we'll spend together, offering the respect of focus to your practice. Put your palms down, glide your hands towards your hips. Again, powers of observation here. Notice how the body changes just a little bit, maybe a little bit more than just a little bit, when you move your hands a little closer in towards the trunk of your body. What negotiations are happening? What shifts a little bit here? Completely empty your lungs wherever you are in your breathing cycle. On the next breath in, float your fingers high towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, float your arms back past your head, back with the hands resting down against the ground, palms facing up. Maybe your hands touch the floor, maybe they don't. Again, powers of observation. Nothing is good or bad. And just feel this openness of your body. Each breath out, feeling your hands resting into gravity. Soften through the elbows, soften through the fingers. Using this moment of openness through the trunk to find really deep breaths. Filling the lungs from the bottom up. Feeling the breath roll from the navel up towards the collarbones, like a wave, filling you with breath, filling you with life. Exhale as deeply as you can. Spine presses down against the structure of your blanket. Finding your way into gravity, letting gravity be your teacher, as if I were physically there adjusting you. Let gravity be your adjustments. Releasing fully through your exhale. On the next breath in, float your fingers high to the ceiling. And exhale, float your hands all the way back down to the floor. And we're going to take that motion, reaching up to the ceiling, back past the head, up to the ceiling, down to the floor. We're going to start moving with your breath. So letting the body be the physical expression, the bigger expression of the mechanics of your breathing. Exhale completely, find a clean slate in the lungs. Inhale to reach your fingertips high. Exhale, float your hands all the way back past your head. Now I'm not going to move through cues anymore. So to find your own rhythm, your own breathing pattern. I encourage you to take this really slowly. It's very easy to move your arms, not really let your body think about anything else. The slower we move, the deeper we're able to travel into our parasympathetic nervous system. So this nervous system is responsible for elements of rest and digest. The slow movement is the language of the parasympathetic. The slower you let yourself move, the deeper you'll be able to travel into those very, very essential states of health and wellness, rest and digest. So it's really nice to know you don't need anything fancy to get yourself there. You just need to speak the language. Moving nice and slow. Catching and releasing any thoughts that are not in line with your internal practice. Finding this breath Moving through your lungs, floating your arms back and forth. And the next time that you exhale out, let your arms slowly float down against the ground. And then fully release your arms. Release that tension of movement, that tension of activation. Let your arms spill against the floor. Feeling this slow, easy energy starting to roll through the body. Gently rock your head from side to side, rolling open the neck. Feel the back of the skull rolling against the blanket. And then beginning to roll off of your blanket, off to the side, rolling onto your side. Pressing down, looking down against the floor. And now we'll split off into two groups here. Slide your blanket off to the side, somewhere where you can reach it in just a moment. If you are not pregnant, lie flat against the ground. If you are pregnant, you're going to open your knees, sit back on your heels so that you're in this somewhat lifted, almost as if you're about to pounce, but just keep it real nice and easy, really nice and relaxed. Sitting back on the heels. Okay, so pregnant, we're lifted. Not pregnant, we are down against the floor. If you are down against the floor, bring your elbows to the ground, roll your shoulders back, feel the tops of your feet rooting down against the mat. As you press down into your elbows, shoulders reach back, heart reaches forward, head reaches high. If your knees are open, if you are pregnant, if you are lifted back this way, same mechanics. Roll the shoulders back, lift the head high. Feel the hands rooting down through the floor. Let your hips be really nice and easy. All the effort that's occurring is the subtlety of the opening of your chest. So you don't want to feel this in your lower back. Okay, so imagine that this was rooted down. Only thing lifting is the crown of your head. And then feel the shoulders draw back. The rest follows down through the center. And then start to find these powers of observation. Is there a shoulder that feels a little bit more pinched or a little bit tighter? Is there a shoulder that feels a little bit more open, a little looser, a little more receptive? And can you let this power of the observation pause right before it tips over into judgment? Can your shoulder just be tighter? And then letting your mind travel all throughout the different areas of the body. Power of observation without judgment. Whether you're down against the ground or you're lifted a little bit further back, whichever position you're in right now. Take a deep breath in, sweep the breath all the way through the lungs. As you exhale, feel the body sinking against this constant, steady support of the floor. Just feeling into the nature of the ground beneath you. Whatever level you're on, maybe you're in the high rise, maybe you're in a tiny little cottage. Whether you're super close to the ground or seemingly far up away from it, letting each breath in remind you that we are all rooted down into the earth beneath us. Whatever structure we're practicing on, the earth is our constant support. It's like letting your body connect to this earth through the presence of gravity. As you breathe out, what subtle release can you find? How can you more and more deeply submit into this release of gravity? Maybe it's mental, maybe it's physical, maybe it's emotional. The more you practice, the more you learn that all of those are three heads of the same thing. So when you release one, it speaks to the others. If you are pregnant, pause where you are, continue to breathe. I'll move into your pose in just a moment. For everyone against the floor, open the elbows out to the side as you exhale slowly, slowly. Feel your body resting down against the ground, forehead against the ground. Start to look over towards your left elbow, lower your cheek down. Bringing your left elbow parallel with the shoulder. Feel your elbow reaching against the floor. And then start to bring your knee off to the side so that you are open in this almost half cactus position against the floor. Now, if your knee is off your yoga mat or if just any kind of floor space and it's a little bit uncomfortable, I personally always like to put a blanket underneath. It helps me to mentally access this pose a little bit better. Looking over to the side. So the knee is supported, hip is open. Now, if you are joining us and you are pregnant, you are going to take this idea, but we are going to flip it on its back. Again, if you're in a later trimester of pregnancy, you may want to find a little lift behind you. So a few pillows just to keep you at a diagonal. Work with what you know your body needs. And you're going to take that left leg, open it, press the sole of the left foot against the right thigh, and then open that knee up. So again, blanket cups in handy here. You can roll that blanket up so that the knee is supported. Okay, so same mechanic and opening of the hip, whether you're against the ground looking up or against the ground, heart facing down. Focus here is a releasing of the inner thigh and the hip. As you exhale, this feeling of gravity drawing you down closer to the earth. As if there was a root either from the front of your heart or the back of your heart, depending on your position. It continues to grow a little bit deeper each time you breathe out. Let your body gently rise and fall with the rhythm of your breathing. Feeling this root from the heart continuously grow, continuously flourish all the way down. When we enter into these spaces of stillness, it's very normal to start to feel fidgety, to start to feel your mind popping off in a million different directions. And again, if you experience this, activate your power of observation. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can just be something to keep in mind. You've got a lot of excess energy, so you can do a few things with that. You can breathe, start to bring your mind to the focus of your breath. Start to feel the tactile essence of your current reality. How does your skeleton feel against the floor? How does your breath influence the way that your body feels in each posture? Differences throughout your body, these pockets of asymmetry. There's so much to explore without moving a muscle. So let yourself get curious. Exhale. If you are down against the ground, bring your leg back to meet your right leg. Forehead down. If you are joining us and you are on your back, both legs pressed together. Switch sides here. You do not have to. Stay exactly as you are. And then we're going to take the opposite. Again, if you're down against the ground, bringing your left cheek to the floor, right elbow out, right knee meets. Find that padding, slide that blanket underneath your leg. Again, let yourself be comfortable. If you're pregnant, switching to the opposite leg. So right knee out, pressing against the left thigh. Put that padding underneath your knee so that it's supported. And powers of observation. What feels different here? What feels the same? If it feels different, can you pause your mind before it becomes bad or good? Find that root either in the front of your heart or the back. If you're laying down against the ground, face forward, feel that root beginning from the back of your heart, traveling all the way through, out the front and down into the earth. If you're laying on your back, let this root start at the front of your heart and travel all the way down through the back. Feel this fullness of connection. With each breath out, the root grows deeper and deeper. Your connection grows deeper and deeper. It's normal for the mind to go haywire in these moments of quiet and stillness. So if that's you today, know that it's okay. Start to use your resources. Let your mind settle around your breath. Travel through your body. What can you observe? Any thoughts that creep in that are not in line with your inner practice, catch them, release them. You may be able to move between these practices. You may just be really focused on one. It's okay. Remembering that stillness and slowness is the language of the parasympathetic nervous system. So developing this language is essential for optimal health. And the next time you exhale, lengthen both legs out. Whether you're against the floor, however you're against the floor, I should say, slowly lift up away from it, rolling off to the side here on your back. And then very slowly, bringing your legs forward. Now this is where a chair can come in if you're somebody who has very limited flexibility. Most of us will be able to bend our knees and reach forward to our toes. For those of us for whom that is not possible, or that's just not in the cards for today, I want you to find your chair, bring your legs underneath, and just bring your hands right on top. Okay, so what we're doing is we're lifting up this pose for you. Taking your blanket and opening that back up to a larger rectangle. We're going to place that underneath, my glasses, place that underneath of your seat. It's always nice to have a little height here. Resting your hands down against your thighs. Just pausing for a moment. Notice what happens here, just as you sit up without support. I notice that my thighs are moving just a little bit, and these tiny movements rippling down my legs. I notice that when I bring my navel in towards my spine on the exhale, I'm able to sit a little bit taller. I notice that this is pleasant, but it's not necessarily easy. So taking your own judgments here, or pardon me, not judgments, your own observations, absent of judgments. What's your body doing right now? How does that relate to what your mind is telling you your body's doing right now? Now start to bend into your knees. If you are not using a chair today, reach for your toes. If you are using a chair today, also bending through the knees, hold onto the sides of your chair. So the chair is going to substitute for your toes, okay? On your next exhale, curl your chin in towards your chest. Let your shoulders and elbows hang heavy. And just feel the weight of your skull as it draws the spine open from the back. Now imagine you can see your spine. Imagine that you can see each vertebrae separate with the fullness of your breath in. With each breath out, the vertebrae slowly moves back together. So just imagine that you're able to manipulate your bones with your breath. Each time you breathe in, imagine you can feel the back of your lungs, the back of your heart, receiving all of this fresh new air. Imagine that each time you breathe out, you're releasing any staleness and stuckness. inviting this newness into your system, into your body. Each time you breathe out, feeling your heart melt a little bit closer down towards your knees. And see if you can really release the head. Very easy to keep this secret tension somewhere in your neck, anywhere in your skull. Let your exhale sweep over your body. Wipe any of that clean. Again, this access to gravity. Bringing us closer and closer to the earth. The roots of our breath. All of these things that exist all day long in many different forms. To keep bringing you back to the earth, back to this place of nurture. After being here for a little bit, can you notice what's changed? It's subtle opening of the spine, the pattern of your breath, the pattern of your thought. What's different? Release your toes, release the chair. As slowly as you can, keeping your knees bent, let your spine restack vertebrae upon vertebrae. Shoulders sink down, hands come up to the knees. Let your head slowly, slowly rise. And then placing your hands by your hips, slide the blanket off to the side and start to roll all the way back down. If you're joining us in any later stages of pregnancy, mid to late, you're going to want to take this on your side. And then I encourage you to stay here for as long as is comfortable. When we are able to show our bodies that we care through acts of nurture, we are able to continuously enter into the practice of nurture. Nurture is not a state, it is a verb. You are in charge of that verb. You are in charge of bringing that state into your life. So stay as long as you like, maybe even a little bit longer than you think you can today. Let yourself rest. Let yourself observe without judgment. Namaste.